Hey, it's Soul with your guide to week 13 of Shadowlands. Lucky. In case you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these weekly reminders and all things Warcraft. Speaking of luck or unfulfilled hopes, the love is in the air and the Lunar Festival is still on this week, so good luck rolling for that love rocket. There's an important hotfix to be aware of. Loot drops from the Castle Nathria raid will go up by 33%. According to the post, 10-player raids should now see 2 gear items and 20-player raids will see 4. So I guess in 10-man strict raids, people were only seeing 1 piece of gear. Damn. Well, I fixed that for you. 100% of the credit goes to me. Send your donations to soul@sarcasm.kidding.badjoke. The world boss this week is Nurgash Muckformed, who drops legendary recipes for Death Knights and Demon Hunters and Warlocks, as well as conduits for your class Covenant abilities, so get to it. Timewalking returns this week and you're off to Pandaland to smash each of its dungeons, except for Scarlet Monastery and Scarlet Halls and Skullomans. Ugh. Seriously, I would love to see vanilla Timewalking already, so, hook us up. Sadly, Blizzard still hasn't chosen a Timewalking raid for Miss Pandaria, but maybe we'll hear of it soon, as well as vanilla Timewalking in a couple of days. The PvP brawl this week is Cooking Impossible. It's definitely one of the stranger brawls, so you can either prep your character to run ingredients like a crazy person, or be the impassable bulwark that stops them in their tracks. In the world of Mythic Plus, congratulations, you survived Tyrannical, Bursting, and Explosive last week. Good for you. This week's Mythic Plus affixes are Fortified, Sanguine, and Grievous. You know what though? I'm gonna take a stab at it and say this might not be so bad. Except for that one pull in Turnicythe with the ankle-deep water, you know what I'm talking about, and maybe a good number of pulls in the Theater of Pain, and I think all of Sanguine Depths. All in all, don't stand in the red stuff, don't keep mobs standing in the red stuff, and keep those heals up, and you'll probably be fine. I guess it seems very pally-tank friendly this time around. But now we're off to the world of Covenants, where we hit the last big milestone for character advancement. The Renown level has gone up to 34. Renown 33 will score you a new adventure companion to drag you down because now you got another one to deal with. Renown 34 will get you another skin for your back ornament, as well as the final Soulbind upgrade. We're going to get to those in a second, but first, let's take a quick look at what our new companions have to offer. For the Kyrian, we have Braun, who casts Reconfiguration Reflect. It deals damage to enemies that attack it over a whopping 3 rounds, which makes it great for crushing a big party that hits your melee line. Repping Team Necrolord is Plaguey with its Toxic Dispersal. It deals ticking damage to enemies while healing others, and well, that already sounds like a favorite. Watcher Vesper Bloom from the Night Fae Covenant implants a Stranglehold Seed into enemies, and makes them take 20% more damage for 3 rounds. It almost sounds like a must-have, especially for missions where there are very few enemy targets. And from the Venthyr, Volca casts Mirrors of Regret that deal damage to ranged enemies. Arguably, I'd say that this is the least impressive out of the 4, but it's better than nothing, right? Now's a good time to remind you of my other favorite add-on to assist with completing missions, which is Covenant Mission Helper. It's all one word, kinda wacky, but oh well. It's been updated, so not only does it display what missions give the highest XP regardless of if you win or lose, it has both an optimizer to rearrange your teams for optimal success, and it simulates encounters for missions that employ random abilities. This is available on CurseForge, and a direct link is in the video description. Now, let's look at the final sets of Soulbind traits available for each Covenant. We begin with Clea of the Kyrian. Bearer's Pursuit gives you a chance to decrease enemy movement speed by 45% for 20 seconds. 20 freaking seconds. That's brutal in PvP, or in other situations where you might prefer to slow an ad. The 1.5 proc per minute, though, doesn't make this very useful beyond a single target, and it limits its reliability, but since this is also linked to the potency slot, it makes it not the worst choice to make. Pointed Courage increases your crit strike by up to 5% for every nearby friendly or enemy target nearby. It's a very easy throughput increase, although the consistency depends on the kind of content that you're running. Resonant Accolades is the one that, personally, I'm most fascinated by. When receiving healing while at high health or healing a target that has high health, 4% of the damage done turns into a 5-second heal over time. I was only able to test this a little bit during the beta, but this trait is a buff that in theory can bank a lot of healing in that higher 30% window. This won't be very effective in dungeons with only one healer, but in a raid this can result in a lot of passive healing, at least maybe. Let's check out what Amini has to offer for the Necrolords. Gristled Toes increases movement speed by up to 15% when enemies are nearby. That makes it a little bit easier to avoid those spiteful mobs in Mythic Plus and maybe some other situations. Gnashing Chompers gives haste on kill for 10 seconds, but it looks like it only works if they apply the killing blow, but don't hold me to that. Sulfuric Emission will fear nearby enemies when your health is knocked below 20%. This seems hilariously bad for PvE. You're already dying, and in your last breaths, you make enemies run in every which way direction. You might as well call this ability, "If you're going down, you're coming with me," or, something like that. Seriously though, this trait can be quite useful in PvP situations. Remember, an Amini user can pop their Fleshcraft while at low health because they can use Fleshcraft while moving. Couple that with the damage reduction buffs that are in the current PTR, and you'll find that Amini users can take that burst window that you're using and shut it down. On to Dreamweaver of the Night Fate. She had her pick of 3 choices weeks ago, so Dreamweaver only gets Field of Blossoms. Using your Covenant ability spawns a thing to stand under that lasts a number of seconds, increasing your haste by 12%. The duration of this field depends on your class, so for example, Druids will lay down this field for 20 seconds after using Convoke the Spirits. So your mileage is going to vary, but still, it's a pretty strong final trait. Lastly, we have Theatar of the Venthyr. Token of Appreciation makes you proc a bubble on those who heal or buff you and has a cooldown of 20 seconds. This is a heal of roughly 2.5k on my Paladin tank, and it's easy to presume that a tank spec ensures the highest max usage of this trait, but with all that said, it's still pretty meh. Refined Palate makes combat potions last 100 to 200% longer. Holy crap, so if I'm reading this right, and I might not be, it's going to make stat potions like this last at least 25 seconds longer and up to 50 seconds longer. So that's like nearly 2 minutes of these bonus stats. Tell me I'm reading this wrong, if I'm reading it wrong, but this still looks like a really sexy bonus. Finally, Wasteland Propriety gives 6% versatility and half of that to up to 4 other people for a number of seconds. The duration of that depends on your class Covenant ability though, so for a Warlock, it might last for 10 seconds. For a Paladin, it'll last for 40 seconds, considering the cooldown of Ashen Hollow. As you're now able to shuffle around with all your traits and build profiles based on your playstyle, now's a good time to remind you about Conduit Energy. Every time you apply a conduit, even if you're just moving an already placed conduit from one spot to another, you use 1 of this conduit energy, and you gain 1 back every 24 hours. Some of you may never notice this because you just set up your profiles and promptly forget about it, you just switch between soulbinds freely. Others who want to optimize for many different playstyles, however, may feel challenged with having to make these less optimal choices for the sake of always having viable profiles on hand. But that's going to be it for week 13 of Shadowlands. Be sure to hit the like button so this guide can spread far and wide, and to subscribe while turning notifications on for more stuff like this and all things Warcraft. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.